evening, everyone, and welcome to Passionately Speaking. This is our weekly masterclass where we pull back the curtains and we talk about public speaking. We talk a lot about advanced topics of public speaking. There's information and training here that you will never hear anywhere else. So I want to welcome each and every one of you today. And today we are celebrating spring. How many of you love the springtime? Oh, I just love the springtime. Flowers popping up. It's just a time of renewal, of growth, of birth, of all kinds of things. And of course, not only do we have Easter here and time changes springing forward, but you know, we just have a lot of wonderful new growth. So we want to talk about today, we're going to talk about springtime. Our topic is springtime. And it's sometimes, right? Springtime is time to freshen up your speech. Springtime is a great time to freshen up your speech. And as speakers, that's what we need to do. And I'm just going to mute a few of you just in case, because when we're recording and you're not muted, if you make a move or a sound, then you pop up on the recording. So unless you want to do that, I'll just make sure everybody's muted. All right, so it's springtime, time to freshen up your speech. But how do you do that? You might be asking. Well, we're going to spell an acronym of spring. So on your paper, put spring, S-P-R-I-N-G, and I'm going to teach you exactly how to do that. Exactly how to do that. Okay, and Ardina jumped in. Welcome, Ardina. Welcome. Make sure too, you go to Facebook and see Ardina's live. Ardina did a live, and so did Angelique. So make sure you're supporting the community by going to the Passionately Speaking. We post everything there in we post the classes there, and we post throughout the week. So make sure you're taking advantage of that. All right, so we're going to spell out spring. Now, I teach a lot about acronyms. I teach with acronyms. And one thing that I teach too is you can use acronyms any way you can, any way possible. Now, did I learn this? No. I was speaking, and this is where I met Philip. And I was speaking at one of my dear friends, Bishop Ed, right? Philip knows Bishop Ed. I met him at a Christian coaching session there. And I was speaking at one of the very first Awakened event. And so I did an acronym, Awaken, and they spell Awaken with a Y. And I spelled Awaken, and I'm looking at it and I'm thinking, you know what? It doesn't make sense if I go from the A down. It doesn't make sense. So I decided that it was okay if you take an acronym and you go anywhere you need to go. So I don't know what I started with, maybe the Y, who knows? As long as you're clear on where you are. That's the key. If you're going to start with a Y, then make sure you let people know I'm going to start with a Y, then I'm going to move to the A, and then we're going to move all around today. Now, we're not going to do that with the word spring, but what I am going to do is go from bottom up. How cool is that? We don't have to go from the S to G. We can go G to S. Why? Because I said so. Because I'm the master speaker trainer, that's why. So you can do it too. And if someone asks you why, you say, because Arvee Robinson, the master speaker trainer, taught you that way. So you can do it too. So we're going to start with the G, and the G stands for grabber. The grabber, which I mean, what? The attention grabber. We start every speech with an attention grabber. I don't care if it's a question that you're using, a declaration, a statement, or a statistical statement. I want you to take a look at your signature talk, and that's the talk that you give over and over and over, whether to get business, change lives, or change a situation. Whatever it is, it's the one that you give most of the time, your most popular talk. So how do you freshen up your speech? Take a look. Now, are you seeing that, Jackie? It should be at the very top of your screen.
I am not seeing it.
Oh, okay. Well, I'll go ahead and admit him now.
I'm sorry.
No worries, no worries. All right. So when you're freshening up your speech, your signature talk, take a look at your attention grabber, at your grabber statement. Make sure that that still is exciting. Make sure that it hasn't gotten dull or rusty, or maybe you just need to change it for a certain group or crowd or event. So take a look at that first. That's one of the fastest ways to freshen up your speech. So hello, Jason, good to see you. All right, now we're spelling out spring and we're going from the bottom up. So the N in spring is new. The N stands for new. Bring something new to your speech. Bring something new. Now, what can you bring new to your speech? Well, what I've been doing lately is bringing props. When I do my Facebook Lives, I've been bringing props, adding props. So get yourself some props. You can have fun with some of these cool glasses too. All you have to do is go to Oriental Trading. They're like a couple of bucks. I've had these for 100 years and I stored them and I was going to get rid of them. You know how you just keep stuff and you keep thinking, you know, I'm never going to use it. I really need to get rid of it. And then one day I came across them and I'm like, gold mine, millions, right? Millions. So use some props, get people's attention with something different. So bring something new. Props is something you can bring new. And I'm going to talk about stories in a little bit, but you could bring in a new story. You could bring in new content, but keep it fresh. Keep it fresh. So bring in something new. The I in spring. Hi, Joyce. Good to see you. The I in spring is for innovation. Innovation brings.
Hey, Arvee, you're muted.
We can't hear you.
Yeah, you're muted.
Wow, how did that happen? Oh, I was letting somebody in. Okay, thank you for telling me. Awesome. All right.
Innovation. You said innovation and then you stopped. We
Thank
didn't
you.
hear you after that.
Thank you. Thank you, Clemmy. Okay, I am going to, Jackie, I'm going to relieve you. If you can't find it, I don't want you to be worried. I'm going to let Lisa be my co-pilot. She's a co-pilot of mine in another group. And so she knows where all the buttons are and everything. So Jackie, you just relax, just enjoy. Okay, yeah, just relax. I don't want you to miss another minute. Okay, great. All right, hello, Michelle, good to see you. We're spelling out the word spring and we're going from bottom to the top, and we're talking about ways that you can freshen up your signature talk. So the I is for innovation. And when I say innovation, I'm not just talking about new stuff. That's what the N is for, is new. And new could be new props and new anything. But what I'm talking about innovation is new trends in your business. So Jackie talks about health. So Jackie, what is the latest trend? Well, we know we've got a pandemic. So if I was talking about health, I would talk about how to protect myself against the pandemic. That's how you can be innovative. What are the best supplements to take, right? The zinc, the D, whatever it is that people are telling us to take. But there's probably way more than I even know as far as how I can protect myself from getting the virus, right? So what is new? What is happening? What's new in real estate if you're talking about real estate? There's more inventory right now in real estate, more than ever. People are paying higher prices than even the asking price, things like that. So what is new and innovative in your industry? Don't take it for granted. So many of us take it for granted that all of you know all of this stuff. We don't know. We're not inside your business. We're not inside your industry. We're not even inside your head, so we don't know. So people in your industry might know it, but we don't, and the people, your audience members don't. So come up with new stuff. Think about what is new, what is the latest trends in your business, and share those. Share those. Update your content is another thing you could do as far as the innovation. And I'm not taking just, ad stuff, but I'm saying maybe it's time to take out one of the pieces of meat or one of the pieces of education and replace it with something innovative and something new. So we can do the whole speech as something new, or we can just take out some of the meat and replace it with something new. So you don't have to replace the entire speech. So innovation. What can you add new? What is the latest trend? How can you update your content and or update your speech? The R is for take a look. Oh, sorry. The R is for real. The R is for real. Take a look inside. Take a look at your speech. Are you really being real? Are you being your real self? Are you being vulnerable? Are you being authentic? Or has your speech gotten so automatic that you're on autopilot and you don't even feel it anymore? And that can happen to any of us that has a signature talk that we do over and over. I always talk about you practice until you become the speech, till you become the script. Well, after a while, becoming the script over and over again can be very robotic. So you need to be careful of that. Sometimes it's always good to have that third person viewing it for you, a dear friend or something, somebody like that, somebody that's heard it time and time again. And one time this very thing happened to I don't know if you can hear that, I got helicopters going over. One time this happened, this happens to me too. So one time, one of my old business partners, a book coach, he's heard my story 1,000 times, every single time, I've ever said it practically at a live event. And one day he came to me afterwards and he said, Arvee, goes, your story is getting kind of dull, right? You're on autopilot. You're not feeling it. I'm not feeling it. And I never thought of that. And so this was years ago, but I stopped and I really thought about what I shared and what I said. And he was absolutely right. I was no longer connected to my own story. So that's something that can happen by not being real, is not being connected, being disconnected, being on autopilot. Any of those things can happen. So every time you do your speech, when you're rehearsing, just check in with yourself. Are you connected, or are you just kind of doing it automatically? And if you are doing it automatically, then what we need to do to break that is to add new things, right? That means that you haven't added any innovation or no new things like new props or new ways to say it or new stories. And we always want to constantly change and bring something new in. Remember, and I've said this to several of you, and I'll say it again, when you do your signature talk and you have a new audience, we always want to tailor it to the language of the audience. So if you're dealing with salespeople, we want to speak their language. If you're dealing to realtors, we want to talk about doors and clients and whatever language they use. So you always should be looking at it and tailoring the language no matter what. But you also want to tailor your story. So if you're talking to a group of realtors, then your stories might be very different than if you talked, especially your success stories could be very different than if you talk to a bunch of salespeople. You always want to tailor your language, your stories, and even the content, and make sure that it fits that audience, whatever the audience is. So it's your same basic signature talk, but you're just tailoring it. So make sure you're doing that. And again, we're talking about being real, but when you do that, that's a great way to stay real, stay connected with your message and with your stories by changing it up. All right, the P is for practice. Now, not just practice, because you all know how you need to practice for 1 hour for every 30 minutes, 1 hour for every 2 minutes of speech, but I'm talking about practicing differently. Practicing differently. So that might mean a new place. So for me, I always practice in my office. I walk around my office, I practice it. I have a table in here. I'll have my outline. And when a new thought comes to me, I jot it down, or a new story, I jot it down. But when I want to mix it up and keep it fresh, I go outside. I have a pool, beautiful pool. I go outside. I actually walk around the pool, right? And say my speech out loud. Of course, my dogs follow me, but I change it up a little bit. If you can go somewhere, like actually drive and go to the beach, which is too far for me, or go to the mountains, which is too far for me, then do something like that. Get in nature. Because when you like just get in nature and speak, and yeah, is it going to be a little distracting? Sure. But so what? You've already become the script. So you know it inside and out already. What you're looking for is new feelings, new experiences that you can actually bring to that speech, and maybe even new stories about maybe when you're walking and you found a flower and the flower reminded you of something that you're teaching or whatever. So practice differently, a new place. And again, if you're going to bring in props, like we talked about something new, then practice with those props. Don't just wait until your speech to pick up that prop. You must always practice with that prop, because it's a lot more complicated sometimes than it might seem. If you are going to actually be physically speaking and interacting with your audience and collecting business cards or having them do something, or a hot seat, you want to practice that too. So don't just say, oh, and I'm going to have a hot seat here. No, you have to, what are you going to do when you have that hot seat? You're going to ask for a volunteer, raise your hand. That's going to take a minute or two. You're going to pick somebody. They're going to come up. You're going to say, what is your name? Shake their hand. Great. What do you do? Right? All that takes time, and it takes speaker time. So make sure you're practicing all of that. And the S in spring, we're going from the bottom down, so we're at the S, and the S is for stories. Sometimes it's necessary to mix up your stories. Now, I'm an advocate of you find 3 or 4 great stories and tell them all the time, because you just get better and better at you tell them. So all of you have heard my camel story. You've heard my, yeah, right. Philip's going, yeah, right, several times. All of you've heard that. You've heard, my husband being a bum magnet. You've heard about Hector, but I do try to sometimes to sprinkle new stories in there, especially at my events. So if you want to be one of my success stories, then write it for me. Be it and write it for me. Let's set all of you as a goal that you're going to be my next success story and be on my PowerPoint. All right? How many people want to do that? Yeah, excellent. I would love that. I would love to tell all of your story, your success story. So keep coming and become a speaking superstar. So, and again, you don't have to throw out all your stories, but bring in some new stories. Look at your story. Maybe you need to change it up. Maybe that person that, if it's a success story that you helped years ago, check in with them, call them, see what they're doing now. Maybe they've even reached more success that you can add to your presentation. So those are 7 ways, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 ways that you can freshen up your speech and bring a little spring in your step. All right, so that's our lesson for today. I'm going to call on each one of you. This is the time where you get to ask me questions. But before I do, ask me questions, you can, anything you need help with. So that's what we do today. Please, this is not a networking meeting. So it's not a place where we share events or do any of that stuff. That's all done in your networking meeting. However, if you are speaking at an event, that we want to hear. Okay, got it? Good. When I say got it, you
Got
say got it. I say good. Got it? All right.
Got it.
Beautiful. So I'm going to call you in the order that you came in. Now, if for some reason you turned off your video and you came in early, you end up at the bottom. So I always teach people, yeah. So Karen is now at the bottom. I think she turned off her video. Yeah, sorry, honey, because I don't know what order you came in. So I have the little, like it's a little glass thing. So if you're at a networking event or a training event like this, all you do is you cover your video like this, right? You see your name is still there, right? But you don't lose your place. Got it?
Got it.
Good. So
Got it.
you don't lose your place, but you're covered up. And if you need to go do something, you can do that. All righty. So we're going to start. Well, Philip, we're going to start with you. Are you testing or are you going somewhere? Okay. So I'm going to call you.
I was gonna go somewhere real quick.
Okay. Well, I'm going to call on you. Can you wait a second?
Yeah.
Okay, good, but I'm glad you implemented that idea immediately. Excellent. Okay, so this is the time again where you can ask me questions, get some coaching directly from me. And let's see, we've got about 30 minutes. So all of you have about a minute each. And I'm going to ask my dear friend Lisa if she would just time it, because of course we can all get crazy and then people won't get enough time. So Lisa
Okay.
will time a minute and she'll make sure that you hear a ring in case you go over. All right.
Yes.
Because I need time to answer. All right, Philip, you're up.
I don't I don't have much questions right now. But and right now, as like because a lot of times I'm a speaker, but I'm not the greatest at writing my speeches sometimes. So, I have to try to put the content together, but I'm not the type I'm the type of person that could just speak. I could write out my notes, but I could speak and then I add to what I had on my notes. Because I'm more authentic when I'm speaking, but if I keep rehearsing every single thing, then I end up messing up. So
Okay.
and yeah, so I learned this one thing over the weekend, that you can't copy people. It's like you can't copy like a way somebody did certain things, and I felt miserably at a competition I was in. So I did something that I was not becoming myself.
Right.
So
Right.
I have to be more authentic.
Absolutely. Okay, so let me just speak to that. But before I do, I just want to call Jason. Jason, what do I say about writing out your speech? We can't hear you. I know you're unmuted, but we still can't hear you. And I know you were going to say something brilliant.
Okay, can you hear me now?
There, yay, yeah.
Okay. Yeah, the advice is never to write out your speech entirely. You'll become a prisoner of your own words.
Very good, Jason. Very good. So you outline it only. So when you outline it, then there's room for you to be authentically Phil.
Yeah.
Right? But when you write it out word for word, there's no space. There's no room for any of us. So just outline your content. You can write out your attention grabber. That's fine. Even write out your close if you need to. But always in the middle, the meat that you teach, never write that out.
Okay.
So you can be free to talk about what you want to talk about, or if a new thought comes in, you're free to let it in, or a new story because maybe somebody in the audience needs to hear that story. You're free to do that. Okay, and you're right about don't copy others, or especially other speakers. I always recommend you observe other speakers and model them, right? Model. If you like something, like I saw a speaker say, you know, touch your hearts and do X, Y, Z. I use that all the time, but I do it differently. I say, touch your hearts and say, I can do this. They did something else. Touch your heart and say, bing and bang and boom. I don't even know what they said. But you can model them, but it has to be authentic to you, your speech, and your audience. So this is very natural for me to do. I always say, touch your hearts and say, I am blessed. You know, so I already was doing a form of that. So you can model, but never copy. And I had somebody, I always say what? I say, how cool is that? Say,
That's
That's
cool.
right. So I had actually somebody in my training class once that took that line. And of course, people in his audience knew me. And so they all told me, they told on him, right? So I called him up and I said, it's not cool to take my that's cool, right? Think of your own, come up with your own. It's like when people copy Tony Robbins and they go, hey, or whatever in the heck he does, right? We know it's Tony Robbins. So come up with your own, and it will naturally. I didn't set out and go, I'm going to come up with that's cool. It just came out one day, right? And I thought that was really cool. I'm going to let it out again. And before you know it, it's a natural. I don't plan when I'm going to say it. It's just there ready for me to say whenever I say it. And that's what will happen to you.
okay. Thanks.
Okay?
Thank you.
Just
Arvee.
keep speaking because that's when the stuff will come out.
Okay. Thanks.
All right, good. Good job, Phil. All right, Jackie.
I made a conscious effort to really increase my speaking, and I've spoken 26 times this month, which is probably more than I spoke all year last year. So
Oh,
very excited about that. Next,
congratulations.
thank you. Next week, I'll be at a symposium, a 3-day symposium for teachers, and I'm going to do the wellness piece of that. So just get out there and speak, because when you do, things start coming your way. Then somebody else asked me for an interview. So it's like, okay, it's happening. Thank you, Arvee.
That's right. Excellent. The more you're visible you are as a speaker, the more you'll be asked to speak. It's like a snowball. It just keeps rolling and rolling and rolling. So good job, Jackie. Great job. 23 times. That's huge. Wow. All right. Let's go to Jeanette.
Hi, everyone. I can't think of a question to ask you. Everything just seems kind of new right now.
Okay. Okay, that's all good. Well, welcome. Jeanette. Welcome. And, you know, just as we go through this, most of the time we are going to have time for Q&A at the end or some sort of comments. If you're speaking, we want to hear about it. And you'll have plenty to share in the future. All right, Clemmy, you're up.
Hello.
Hi.
So I have been on Zoom since the beginning of last week through the weekend, literally triple and quadrupling, doubling, you know, juggling, like where I'm going to be, what's my priority now. It's been overwhelming, but I've gotten really good response. And what I have noticed is when I struggle to figure out how to present what I do business-wise, because that's still a work in progress. I'm still trying to figure out what people want from me. That's a struggle. But when I talk about my like big change the world vision, people are lined up. It's like, boom, like there's no resistance there. It's like they've been waiting to hear it. And as soon as they hear it, it's recognized and people are good with that. So I feel like, and the big vision is also like the big project, like, you know, producing animation, which I also don't know how to do, but I've got the story and the character and everything else. So I'm like, should I start talking about my big picture vision as opposed to my like right now thing?
If you've already tested it and that's where you're getting the big response, then absolutely. So share with us your big vision that you're talking about.
So I want to live in a world where thinking outside the box is the new normal. And because of my brain injury and my experience helping people with injuries before it happened to me, I've always been an advocate for healthy brains, which actually allows me to advocate for the environment, which is like healthy food, air, water, right? Because that's the hardware. And software the cognitive emotional, it's like basically the best stimulation on the planet is the arts. And they should be the foundation of our educational system, not the first thing we cut out. So those
Amen.
are the big ideas. And then it's going about making that world, because if I'm working one-to-one with people with injuries or caregivers, leveraging my time and my effectiveness is limited. Whereas if I've got people lined up and I can train them to do what I do and to understand things, I'm like a translator between the injured and the normal. And I can say, look, here's what the issue is. You're using a hammer when you need a scissor, or whatever it is, whatever the metaphor is, that things look like one thing, but they're actually caused by something else. And it's just like a physical thing that will show up in a different place than where the cause is. Brain injury is like that. And so people don't have a clue what's really going on. And they also think, because they don't have a clue, they imagine that it's a huge level of effort to help someone, when in fact, the most menial, simple thing is significant and not trivial. And you can actually do something very easy that will be a lifesaver for somebody else.
Right on. All right. Well, I look forward to seeing how that all develops. So as we all go out there and speak our messages, there's going to be times where you're going to, turn and, you think you're going this direction and then something else comes up. So again, another reason why we don't want to write it all out, because we want to be free to have whatever's inside of us come up. And then as we attract people to us, then that gives us confirmation that we're on the right track, giving the right message, right? Because most of us have more than one message, and we have multiple ways we can deliver that message, right?
Yeah.
So it is a work in process.
Okay.
I've been working
Thank you.
on mine for 30 years.
Thank you, Arvee.
All right, thank you, Clemmy, for sharing. All right, Virginia. Virginia just had a birthday, so let's quick sing her happy birthday. All right, everybody unmute yourself and sing Virginia happy birthday. Happy birthday
to
you.
Happy
Happy
birthday to
you.
Happy
Happy
birthday,
birthday, dear Virginia.
Happy
birthday
to you.
More Channel 4.
Scooby-Doo.
You guys.
She's got many more on Channel 4. Awesome. All right, so happy birthday, Virginia.
Thank you. So I was just wondering, the one quick question I have is, at what times of the day do people feel more comfortable practicing their speech? In the morning, in the afternoon, middle of the day?
Wow. Well, that's usually an individual preference. I find it's whenever I have time. I wouldn't recommend in the evening, although I've done it, but not when you're creating and writing, because you want a kind of a fresh mind, right? So that you can write, just like when you write. Virginia's a writer. When you write, do you do your best work at midnight, or do you do your best work at 9 a.m.? So that's the same question I would ask you for your speech.
Okay.
Whenever you're on, like I'm not a night owl, right? I like to get up early in the morning. I'm in bed by 9 and up by 7. That's just me. So I do better kind of in the morning and the afternoon, but by the time 5 or 6 hits, I'm done. I'm ready to walk the dogs, eat dinner, and watch TV, right? I'm not going to do much creativeness. So it's really an individual preference for yourself. And I think if you went around the room, everybody would have a different answer.
Right.
Okay, so when are you comfortable rehearsing and practicing?
It varies. It's sometimes before dinner and after dinner, sometimes in the morning, first thing.
Do that. And I think for you, because you're like all of us, very busy, just do it whenever you can, and also schedule time to practice.
Yes, that's
What
right.
doesn't get scheduled doesn't get done.
Right.
So for some of you, it's a matter of practicing. So just like I always leave out an hour before this class
Uh-huh.
to prepare. I think of my topic in the morning, but I prepare an hour ahead of this class.
Right.
I block it out,
Yes.
right?
Yeah.
And so that's what, you want to do is block out time for you to rehearse and practice. Okay, well, we better move on. I see I'm yakking too much. All right, let's get it back. Beth, I saw your live the other day. Good job.
Well,
Uh-oh, you just muted yourself, or I muted you accidentally. Sorry.
I've been doing more lives as my speaking engagements because I have control on that. I want to do more speaking. And as you were talking today, I went, yikes, I have been focusing on my 30-second, my 1 minute, my stories, kind of my sales approach, but I haven't done a signature talk. So I guess that's my next thing to craft. So I have something to go like on podcasts and say.
Absolutely. We all of you need a 30-minute signature talk. That is vital, right?
Okay.
I mean, that is like, as a speaker, you just have to have that in your toolbox. Now, remember, when you have that 30-minute, you're not always going to get 30 minutes, right? But guess what? Remember, your speech is like a sandwich. So when you only have 20 minutes, you take out a couple pieces of meat. 15, take out a couple more, and so on, right? Until like a 5-minute, you have one piece of meat. So that's my formula that I teach. And remember, many of you are coming, but if you're not, I've got one seat left for my Create Your Speech in a Weekend. It happens to be coming up, and it is April 9th and 10th, right? Karen's going. Who else is going here? Karen's going. Jeanette is going. Cheryl's going. Michelle's going, who had to leave. It's great timing for you. I only do that once a year. So Create Your Speech in a Weekend. If you're interested, Beth, just text me. Text me, tell me you're interested. I'll call you after this and we'll get you signed up. So in the chat, I'll just put my cell phone number in there. If anybody's interested, one seat left. And I shared it at my last one-day event. But make sure that you take advantage of that, because otherwise, what are you going to do? Wait, bumble around, trying to figure it out yourself? I teach a formula, so that it takes the guesswork out of creating that speech, right? Virginia's gone to it in the past. Lisa's gone to it. Jason's gone to it. Almost everybody here has gone to it.
Yeah.
Right? So don't get left behind. Yeah, look at Lisa, she's so cute, right? Don't get left behind, right, Lisa? Okay, great. All right, our Dina's going. I mean, just, anyway, okay. So that's what I recommend for you.
Yeah, I think that's becoming very clear.
Yeah. Okay, let's go to Margaret with all that delicious food behind her.
Thank you, Arvee. Well, my vision is to educate and inspire people to eat real food and to move toward a plant-based diet. And I have given several presentations about this. I'm a member of a business networking group. I gave a 10-minute presentation a couple weeks ago. And last week I filmed some videos with a videographer. Took about 2 hours. We were outside, we were freezing our butts off. It was in the low 50s. So I'm working on that. That's kind of my passion right now, to do that. And when I put together a speech, I write an outline and then I make flashcards with topics. And I have those flashcards in my pocket and I just pick it up during the day and I practice just talking about those topics in my own words. It doesn't always come out the same way, but it shouldn't. That's my story for this week.
Okay, good. Yeah, flashcards are fine to use for practice, but do not take them up to your speech, because otherwise it'll be like 52 card pickup if you drop them. I've been there, done that 30 years ago with a little 3x5 card. Don't do that. Everything I teach you, I've probably done wrong myself. So good job, Margaret. What networking group are you a member of that you're talking about?
It's called BNI, Business Networking International. Yeah.
A lot of people are in that. Very cool.
It's a good
Okay.
group.
All right, let's go to, is Ruben there? I don't know. Did he fall into the water? I'm not sure. Ruben, are you there? Okay, Ruben. You're muted.
I share with you that I joined a contest in Toastmaster, and I went to the next round. So I'm practicing now for the next round. So I won in my club and on the regional. So now going to the next. So it's like I share with you, it's 3 to 5 minutes. So since it's only 3 to 5, I already memorized. So do you think that's a good idea to I memorize everything? So
Yes,
what,
you need to for that. Because it's not like a signature talk that you give over and over again. You're doing it for a contest. But next time you practice, think of bringing in something new. Maybe a prop, maybe something physical. Now I have the pleasure of being able to see his speech and coach him a little bit on it. And it's adorable and funny. I hope you incorporated some of that. I did.
Yeah.
You. Yeah. Yeah. And so now maybe you'll bring in a prop, maybe, something that's funny, because you're trying to it's a funny speech. Okay.
yeah, that's what that's I'm trying to come up with a prop, maybe a car, a small car, because
Art.
yeah,
Something really goofy. Like
yeah.
think funny, think really opposite.
Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah. All right.
Can't be
Yeah.
goofy, but funny.
Yeah. All right. Thank you.
Good. We got about 10 minutes, so we're going to hurry a little bit, but if any of you can stay late, I'll stay here. All right, Alice, and Alice is going to create your speech in a weekend. Yay. Hey, Alice.
Hi, everyone. My question is about using props. I don't think my topic could be, I can't take glasses and be funny. So it's a little more serious. So what do you suggest?
But you could have a pile of money. It doesn't have to be real.
Real money. Well, it won't be.
Well, I knew a guy at one of my network, this is not an original idea, but I knew one of the guys from my networking group, and he helped people with their loans.
Mm-hmm.
He had a pile of money. And I don't know if it all was real. And he'd take it out of his pocket when he's introducing yourself. And he would say, I could save you $25,000. Who wants this? Right? Of course, everybody's like, ah. He did it to grab their attention.
Mm-hmm.
Right? So think along the lines of some prop that has to do maybe with money or coins or something like that. If you were in a live arena, you could use coins. And is Don still here?
He had to leave.
Oh, okay. Because he would appreciate this. But there's coins, right? You could use coins, and these are candy. And so you can throw the coins, right? And things like that. I use money candy. I have money candy that I use. So if it's alive, you can use some things like that. But if it's virtual, then you're going to have to just maybe use a prop. Or you can always, Alice, get a pair of these glasses. And that way. I would say, who can see the money, right? Who else can see the money? So, so think about that. The answer will come for you.
Okay, thank you.
You're welcome. And we'll work more on that in the weekend.
Yeah, that's true.
All right. So Warner just jumped off just as
He said he had to go.
Okay, just as I was getting ready to call him. All right. So Lisa, you're up.
I don't have any questions at this time. I think I'm good and learning from everyone else.
Okay, great. Jason, you're up.
I'm out of questions either. I just really wanted to quickly share how much the creating your speech in a weekend was one of the most memorable events I attended. I had the pleasure of being with 4 extraordinary ladies, one of them being Florence LaRue, and the other one is Virginia Earle on this call. And I want to just say that the weekend was not about so much a creation of speeches as it was about transformation. And I certainly wanted to attest to Virginia's transformation in that entire weekend. The way she started and the way she finished was something that I would never forget. And I'm definitely looking forward to receiving her and hearing her speak. It was an incredible weekend for me. And I hope everyone that is attending this time around really enjoys themselves in the transformation. Thank you.
Thank you, Jason. Transformation, great way to put it. All right, Cheryl, you're up. You're going, right? You're registered.
Yes, I don't have any specific questions other than, is there anything I should prepare for next weekend?
Nope. I want all of you to come with a clean slate. You're going to get the system. You're going to get a manual to use, and we're going to build your speech throughout the weekend. So come fresh and clean, well rested.
I am just looking forward to having the exact experience that Jason just described. That's exactly why I'm going.
Oh, good. Excellent. All right, great, Cheryl. All right, let's go to Benita. Benita's been doing live her characters almost every day. So good job.
Yeah. Oh, I just disappeared.
We see you.
No, we see you.
Oh, okay.
But don't pick your nose or anything, because we see you.
All right, because there you are. I'm going to be on a podcast tomorrow, and she wanted to do it for April Fool's Day, and I'm going to have some different characters. And also, I'm doing my own first virtual class, A Classy Clown, on April Fool's Day at noon Pacific. And the question I have is, I've never used PowerPoint slides, and I went into PowerPoint last night. I want to make an offer. This will be my first ever offer. And I talked to Eric about it on the call Monday. And, but I forgot to ask, well, I've just never done PowerPoint slides, and I don't know whether to mess with putting that together or not.
Okay, so you're going to do this in 2 days on the 1st.
Right.
Okay. Probably not a good time, right? Look at Jackie's shaking her head to worry about PowerPoint. You don't have enough time.
That's what I thought. And this other person said, oh, you got to have at least 10 slides. And so she was
You know what, Benita? No, you just practice your speech, practice with your beautiful characters, and verbally make your offer and call it a day. Then the next time you can prepare and learn PowerPoint, right? And then put it together. Because even for me, it takes me a couple of days just to put a perfect PowerPoint together. And I've been using it for 20 years.
Okay, well, that was my feeling. And this person says, when you make an offer, you've got to have the offer written up on a slide. And here's the offer I'm going to make. It's to do 3 2-minute ventriloquism videos for social media marketing or an online course, and an hour of brainstorming with it. And I'm going to come up with a name. I don't know. Anybody have a clever name?
Yeah, we don't have time right now for that, Benita. But yeah, you had a couple of days. Just go do the best you can. Keep your offer simple and inexpensive. Don't try to put too many. I've been testing this for the past year. Right? And I loaded too many bonuses. Don't load a lot of bonuses. People go, oh, I'm never going to be able to take advantage of it. Just a couple of little bonuses, a low offer to get them in the door, and you'll be fine. Okay? All right. Let's go to Joyce. Benita, if you want any more, private coaching on that, just give me a call and we can engage in some private coaching, because it's more than this couple minutes. Yeah, this is big. This is exactly what I do. Okay, let's go to Joyce.
Hi, Arvee. Hi, everyone. Can you very quickly tell me, for a 30-second speech, what your sandwich would be what would be included in that?
Well, no, because my sandwich does not start with the 30-second because the 30,
No, I meant 30 minutes, 30 minutes.
30 minutes. I cannot do that in the time that we have here. No, my whole entire system, that's what I teach in my Create Your Speech in a Weekend. That's my formula. Yeah.
Okay, so I'm new to public speaking, and I've done individual coaching and like a small group coaching, but not standing up and delivering a speech per se. So yeah, I'm just taking it all in.
Okay. Well, again, the best thing you can do is come to the Create Your Speech in a Weekend or private coaching, and then I'll teach you my system. It takes months, over coaching. It is, or we do it rapidly in 2 days, but I cannot do it in 2 minutes. And I wouldn't, I couldn't because
I didn't know if there was like a formula. I didn't know it was a whole long thing. So
there's 26 steps.
Yeah. Okay.
Yeah, there's 26 steps.
Yeah.
That's why I say the closest thing to come to it, just think of a sandwich, right? The meat is in the middle. This is rapport and this is the close. But that, all together, there's 26 individual steps.
Yeah.
Okay. Sorry, Jay. Sorry, I can't do it in 2 seconds. I'm a miracle worker, but I would do it justice or you. Okay, let's go to Lori.
Okay. All right. So my question is, as when it comes to stories, do they have to be like true stories? Like say for instance, you're doing something in a new area where you don't have a lot of stories to tell, right? Like, can they be a story that's related and maybe, just the result is what they, I mean, I'm not saying do you lie, but like, I love like Joel Osteen. He always starts off with a joke, right? And it kind of livens it up. I mean, can you do stories that just kind of have like, and like a fable, like a happy ending or something, but it's not. Huh?
Yeah, yes, absolutely. So I use jokes sometimes as stories, but the only thing you want to make sure is you don't let people think it happened to you. So that story that I tell, like there's this little girl and she was in art class, feverishly drawing. And the teacher came up to her and said, "Mary, what are you drawing?" And Mary looks up at her and says, "Well, I'm drawing a picture of God." And the teacher said, "But Mary, nobody knows what God looks like." And without looking up, Mary said, "Well, they will in a minute."
I love that. Yeah, that's a great one. I love that. Yeah.
I don't say, "Hey, I had a girl," or "I was in art class," or "I'm the teacher." I don't, people know it's just a story, right? So as long as you don't say "this happened to me," then it's not a lie.
Right. Okay.
Yeah. So find some good stories that would be, and the internet is full of them.
The internet's full of them?
Full of stories, yeah.
Yeah. Okay.
Yeah. Just go to stories, quotes. Yeah. There's lots of them on the internet. Easy to find. Okay, great. Let's go to Karen.
No question, Arvee. I'm just happy to be back again. And thanks to Jason, like you got me really excited to attend that workshop in a couple of weeks. I'm like, can it be this weekend now? But I'll be patient.
Awesome. Great. Thanks, Karen. All right, Jean Box, are you with us? I know we don't see your camera, but can you hear us?
Yes, yes.
Awesome. Hey,
Hi.
Jean.
I have a couple of questions. First of all, I heard you say you chose to save your Zoom today on the cloud. And I was thinking that when I took your Zoom class, you said to store it on the computer.
That's
So
right.
can you talk about the differences? Because I think it'd be easier for me to send the Zoom link to other people that want it if I were in the cloud. What's the advantage of having it on the computer?
Okay, well, there's a couple different things. So it's you've got to decide what you want to do with it. So if you record it on your computer, you're going to have a better recording than in the cloud, right? Your computer has more disk space than the cloud does. You could run out of space in the cloud. I do most of my recordings on my computer, but not Passionately Speaking. Why? Because Passionately Speaking goes to my web gal. My web gal puts it on the passionatlyspeaking.com. If it's on my computer, then one can't get it. And if I load it up to YouTube, so if I want to load something to YouTube, like my podcast or something, I make sure it's on my computer, so it's a good recording, then I load it up to YouTube. But it's harder for her to get it and download it, separate the audio from the video if she's downloading it from YouTube. She has to use another step. But if it's on the cloud, it's separate. I've got audio separate, video separate. Does that make sense? So if you want other people to share it, if you want to share it with others and you don't want to put it on YouTube and share it there, then do it on the cloud.
Okay. All right. And you said that if you do store it on the computer and you want to put it on YouTube, there's an in-between step?
No, not in between if you're going to store it on YouTube. I said there's an in-between step. If I store Passionately Speaking, because my web gal has to separate the video from the audio because Passionately Speaking is audio.
Okay.
Right?
Yep.
On the website, only because I've been doing it as a teleclass for the last at least 15, 16 years.
Okay.
Right? We've only started doing Zoom in the last couple of years.
Okay.
Yeah. So just think about, what do I want to do? If you do want to share it, and that's important, and a good video on YouTube, then use the cloud.
Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah.
All right,
I
great
don't know how
question.
to put it on YouTube.
Okay, great question. All right, Janine, I know you turned your video off a couple of times, but I know you came in, and then we'll go to Ardina. Janine. Uh-oh, now you turned it off again.
No, I accidentally was making sure I was unmuted, and but you can't see me?
No, there. Now we can.
Oh, okay.
Keep moving.
I don't have a question, but I never heard, and this is a diamond, when you talked about don't write your speech out and do it as an outline. I write it out and then I do it as an outline. So that's what I should be doing. And I'm decluttering in my garage, and I found all of my speeches that I've done over the last 20 years. Woo! And some of them were signature speeches. So I'm excited about using what you talked about today to update them, because I wasn't retired at the time, and I've learned and I've evolved so much more since then. So I'm excited about that. And then I have issues with the chat live. I've done one with my family that was regrettable. So I won't be doing that again. But it has given me subject matter for my book. And a guy today, he requested me as his friend, and I went to his page, and he was doing a challenge, a 66-day challenge. And what he was doing, he's a chef, and I guess has a really famous restaurant. But what he was doing was, as he's evolving, he shared it in maybe a 5 or 10 minute chat live. So maybe that's something I could do, since I'm a coach and am writing. That would be an easier way for me to get out of the paranoia that I have about doing Zoom.
Okay, so you're thinking of doing lives?
Yes.
Yeah. Well, I mean, lives are great. And again, if there's something, I teach live classes, Jackie's taught it, I've taken it, Zoom classes, all of that. So if you need that help, let me know. Okay. One thing about the lives, if any of you are going to do lives, I got a little formula for lives as well. But you want to do them 2 to 3 minutes, and you want to be consistent. Otherwise, they don't work. Dabbling in lives, dabbling in speaking just doesn't work. So whatever you decide to do it consistently and do it always. Do it every single day, do it once a week, whatever you can, but don't dabble in speaking.
And it wasn't that long. So I thought this would be a best way for me to do it.
Yeah, well, if you want to count it as a speech, it has to be 2 minutes.
Okay.
Yeah, 2 minutes. Otherwise, it's an elevator speech or self-introduction.
Right, right. Well, I'm verbose, so I just got to work on keeping it down to 3 minutes.
Okay, good. 3 minutes.
All right.
All right, let's go to Ardina and then Jeannie. All right, Ardina and then Jean. Where are you at, Jean Reese? I see, there you go. Okay, perfect. All right, Ardina and then Jean, and then we'll wrap it up. Thank you all for staying a little bit later today. All right, because this is good stuff, right? You can learn from each other.
Yeah, absolutely. Good evening, everyone. I'm just kicking it in my car, waiting for my mama to come out.
Awesome.
I don't have really any questions, but you know, what you gave us today, Arvee, what really resonated with me is still, you know, that connecting with the audience, you know, being relevant, knowing who you're talking to, so that, you know, you can tie in so they can connect. And then also the innovation. And I guess that kind of ties in knowing the industry so that, you know, we're tying it all in. So that's what stood out for me today.
Good. Excellent. Make sure you all go to Facebook, Passionately Speaking, and watch Ardina's live. She was on.
Thank you.
Let's go to Jean Reese, and then we'll end our call tonight. Jeannie, how did it go on Sunday? You're muted.
As it was wonderful. I don't know if anyone attended here because I couldn't see. It got so small, I could see all the faces. And so I just had to focus on what I had to do since I sort of designed the whole program. I did a 3-minute speech. And I used the acronym of LEAD, L-E-A-D. I won't do it now because it's not appropriate, but I did do that. And because it was about leadership, that's what I wrote about in the book. So the ebook is on the line and ready to roll. And I remembered, you know, to sandwich, I remembered to do a call to actions, what you can call it, at the end, and that was to get the book, because those 4 points weren't even in the book. I said, this one is for free. So I had a good time and everyone else did. And then we had a champagne toast as we did at your book launch. It almost looked like a real book launch. You know, I told them to prepare by making their appetizers first. And so I showed them my appetizers. I hope yours look as good. But we had a great time.
Jackie, who just had a so Jean's
so it was a gift to rub my nose in it. But anyway, I did tell them to do that. And so we really had a good time. Good music on the back end. And I think CJ showed up and maybe come. So there were probably close to 45, probably up because people kept coming in.
Well, good for you, Jean. And Jackie gave her the idea, so good for you. They both
she's the reason why I got engaged here. Okay, thank you.
Okay, Jean, thank you. All right, everyone. Well, that's our call and our lesson for today. Have a great week. Get out there and speak. Start calling, getting those speaking engagements. And when you do speak, a question, Cheryl, yes.
I wanted to ask you, where can we find the recording of the Facebook Live you did this past weekend?
I sent it, but I will resend it. I answered your chat. Yeah, I sent it to one of your emails, so maybe you didn't get it, but I'll resend it.
Okay.
Okay, thanks, Cheryl. Anyway, when you get your speaking engagements, and when you do speak, remember to always speak with passion. Mwah. Bye, everyone.
Bye.
Goodbye.
Bye.
Bye. Bye, everyone.